Soraya, coming to us from Rio de Janeiro. Yes. And I
Yes.
did not say her last name because I cannot pronounce it. There are things that are beyond my skill set. So I am going to let her do that now and introduce yourself, Soraya, and tell us more about what you do.
So my name is Soraya Soares. I'm Portuguese, but I live in Brazil for almost 6 years. I started working with graphic design 3 years ago as a trainee. But last year I got fired because of some problems in the business I was training in. And I just dived in and started working with brand design by myself. I opened my own business, and now it's been 1 year and everything is going great.
That is good. I applaud you for your courage to just jump out there and make something happen for yourself. That is so courageous, and I
It
applaud
was
you.
really difficult, really
Yes,
difficult
it's not easy to do.
because when I was fired, I was feeling so bad, like there were no reasons, no anything for that. So 1 month, it was for me to cry and plan it, everything, plan it, because it was really hard. But then I get up and just start again.
Well, I think it's also good that you cried and you took the time to do that because that's healthy to get rid of those negative emotions. So when it's time for you to make a move like you did, you've left that behind you now. You got it all out
Exactly.
the system and you left it behind you. We've all experienced crushing situations in our lives that have changed. But I can tell you there's a number of people that will tell you, but what was waiting for me around the corner was so much better than what I spent
Exactly.
time crying about. So it's all part of the growth process and the things that you learn from that experience is helping you in the next place you're in.
A
So
lot.
yeah, so we're thankful for that. So let me ask you a question. You said that you started training in graphic design. What were you doing before that?
I was in university. I was studying marketing,
Okay.
but then I found out about design and I did a little course here in my hometown. And then I fall in love and I start looking for jobs, and that's when I become a trainee.
Okay, good. So, design is so huge. The industry where you can specialize is so huge, but you specialize in brand design. So, when you were looking at the opportunities in graphic design, what made you choose brand design?
Well, when I started in that training, the business I was training, they had a lot of service like social media, brand design, website design, and I did a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But every time a logo job was there, I was like so happy to start right away working on it. So when it was a social media, I was like, oh, just one third service, I need to do it. But when it was logo, I was just so happy to dig in.
Okay, so logo design and branding design brings you a lot of joy.
Yes, a
Okay.
lot.
That's good. That's like it's precious jewel to be able to do something that brings about this passion and this desire and stirs something inside of you. So that's great. That is
Yes.
so let me ask you this. Who are your dream clients?
Well, I have a specific niche. I work with health professionals like doctors and nutritionists, psychologists, a
Okay.
personal trainer. So those are my clients. But my dream client is the one that he sees my job, he sees what I'm planning to do, and is like, that's exactly what I need. That's my dream client. That's the one who don't ask questions like why the price is too high or why we need to do that. It's not necessary. My dream client that looks at your service and says like, no, she knows what she's doing. I trust her, and I'm going for it.
Good, yes. And that's exactly what my coaching program is geared toward, attracting the dream client you just described. So you can have that passionate feeling that you just described to me. You can have that because you're not dealing with someone haggling prices with you and someone not understanding the value of what you're going to bring to their
Exactly.
business. So that's great. So you help brand health professionals. I think that's an awesome niche. Um, I don't think I've run across that yet in the people that I've worked with, the people I've coached, to just focus on health professionals. So that's great. Now, how do you translate? Because I read uh, I can't remember if it was on the website or Facebook page, but I read that you're able to translate your client's essence and purpose into their brand. So how do you do that? Because you're not psychic. So
Yes. Well, my clients always say that I read their minds. But the truth is the briefing. I have a really long and detailed briefing that I use that for me is the key to a really great result. So the briefing starts asking about my client. It's not about the brand, it's not about the service, no, it's about him. So I ask him, for example, what is favorite music, what is favorite movie, what he could talk all day, every day. So I try to know him, to know what is like every day, so I can feel his essence. So I start when I do these questions and I read the answers, I can feel like, no, this person, like a person who likes horror movies and has a really punk style music, is like a heavy person, like he likes that vibe, that dark vibe. So this helped me a little bit understand the further questions on the brand. Sometimes the brand doesn't have anything to do with him, but it helps me transmit a little bit of him in his brand. So as I work a lot with the personal brand, not as huge business. So it's good for me to bring their essence, a little bit of them, to their brand, because their brand consists in working him with the patient, with the client. So it's a connection between them two, not with a big business and one client. So I need to do a brand that connects them in a very specific way. Maybe the client that is looking for doesn't like punk rock music, but maybe when he looks at the logo and the brand, they see what the my client is really about, what it really is. And we need to know people deep, very
yeah,
deeply,
yeah.
because we need to trust them to buy a service or to buy a product. So when I transmit that essence for in the brand, they automatically, their clients trust them more. So about the purpose, uh, all my clients have different purpose. For example, I have some personal trainers who their purpose is to uh, help their clients lose weight. Other personal trainers are for to help their clients gain weight, gain muscle. So I have to um, gather the information of that purpose so I can include it in their brand identity. So when the client looks at it, you know what their purpose is. That's an example.
Exactly. So that they can make a decision in like 5, 10 seconds visually should I call this person? Should I contact this person? Should I go to their website? And that
Exactly.
helps. And I agree with you totally because using a psychographic approach rather than a demographic approach these days is smart. It is very smart and it makes those attraction connections happen a lot quicker.
Yes.
Okay. So you answered like two of my questions, but do many of your clients come to you with a brand guide?
And no, my clients arrive and they are like, I need a logo. They just say
They
this,
think they just
no,
need the logo.
I need a logo. But I'm like, no, you need more than a logo. If you want to do this, you need more than a logo.
Yeah.
That's how we start the conversation usually.
Yeah, because do you find that it's essential to offer a part as a part of your service where you create this brand guide for them and you help them understand that this is going to be valuable to them and their brand in the years to come and you know, so do you provide that as part of your service?
Yes. When I usually when I start the service after the briefing, I already do a mood board. This mood board helps me to gather my ideas and everything. But this is the main point when I start explaining to him how important these elements that I'm going to create will help him in the future, near future, and further future, right? So I started there explaining everything, and after we finish the complete service, I always have a talk with them, and I write an email, really complete email. So I explain everything to them, like why it's important for them to follow some rules, because sometimes they cut the logo and they just use it half.
And it makes you
So
have a heart attack.
exactly. So I have like a little um, brand guideline. So I write about them, about their brand, like an introduction. Then I start explaining the logo, what the concepts, why it has been made, how to use them. I also write about the typography because
Mhm.
sometimes they don't buy the official typography, right? So I always say it's like this is a serif font. So if you try to use another serif font that maybe is free, you will keep your brand, your visual. So it's not a problem. So I always give this kind of guidance so they can use it. But besides that, I always do always some posts so they can already start their social media with the right um, visual, so they just need to follow that visual that visual,
Yeah.
and it's kind of simple for them to understand how to use them with those posts, so for example, I create just an example like your logo goes here, your title here, and they start following that. So most of the feeds, the Instagram profiles of my clients have good feeds, really presentable because of that.
I think that's a good added value to give them a template basically for social media posts.
Yes.
That's great. And so, you know, once you do those things, they really understand. I had a funny story. One person I created a logo for, their logo had purple in it. And as part of my service, I provide, you know, the brand snapshot. I don't give them the
Mm-hmm.
full guidelines unless they pay
Yes.
for that. But I do give a brand snapshot, which is a condensed version for them to share with vendors. So she
Mm-hmm.
was going to be a speaker at an event. This was pre-COVID. And she had shared the brand snapshot with the creative team, said, you know, here's my logo, here are my colors, and all this stuff. And she got there, and the purple was the wrong purple. she lost it.
Jeez.
She said, if you had not taught me this, I would have never paid attention to the fact that I know my purple because I know what
Exactly.
it means and I know what it represents. And I told them when people don't adhere to your brand guidelines and you share them with them, then there should be some type of compensation involved in that because you disrupted my brand.
Yes,
And they did end up compensating her for that failure. But a lot of times I tell clients too, I say, if you have someone who says, I want to design this flyer for you, I want to create your Facebook business page or whatever deliverable, and they don't ask you for a brand guide, that's likely an indicator that they're not professionally trained to do this type
exactly.
of work.
Exactly. As my target audience does a lot of talk, like talk with a lot of people, like shows and that kind of stuff. Most of the times they need to give their logos to other designs to prepare the event posts and everything. So when I present my service, I always have a list of what it's included.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing is the brand guidelines, and they always ask me what is that, because
Mm-hmm.
no one knows what's brand guidelines. And I always say this is a book. It's your brand book that will help other professions help you when you need to create some material advertisement, something like that. So for example, if you go to an event, they will ask for your logo. So when they ask for your logo, you will send the brand guideline together. so can they read it and understand how to use it, because sometimes it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always explain them how important it is to always send it together with the logo, so that kind of stuff never happens,
Yeah. That's such great advice for them. So now we've been talking about the warm fuzzy good stuff. So now we're gonna talk about the challenge. Tell me about a few challenges your clients were facing when they came to you for help.
Well, one of my clients, she had a previous logo, but was such a common logo. When you look and you are like, I think I saw something like that. Uh, she's a cardiologist, and her logo was just an heart with the rate beep.
Uh,
So it's really common, but it was just like an icon. And she saw another project that I did for a friend of her, and she was like, she arrived and she said, Soraya, I need your help because my logo doesn't transmit anything who I am. So
mhm.
it's just something that I have there because I really need it, but now it doesn't transmit anything, and I really need to for my clients to look at my profile and my Instagram profile, my website, and feel like what is to be me, like how is my business, I um, how I meet with them, how is the consultation like. So something friendly. She wanted to show that when they arrive to her clinic, they are hugged, they are asked how they are, how I've been in the last days, not just like how you feel, what are the symptoms, okay, here's your recipe and go.
Right.
That's not
Not
like
a
that.
warm
They are
service.
is exactly. So she said, I need that because my patients, when they arrive, they are like, wow, I never thought it was like that. And I
Hmm.
want them to look at my brand. You already think that it was going to look like. It's gonna be friendly, it's gonna be warm, it's gonna be cozy. So that was one of the the challenge that I had, because sometimes transmitting friendship it's a little bit difficult, because most of people are friendly. So how can you transmit like friendship? So was a little bit of a challenge for me, but
Okay.
but it was great because it in the end result was perfect. I could
Mhm.
gather some of the things she really wanted, and and that's it.
What was her reaction when she first saw the logo you created?
Well, she was amazed. She almost cried because she was like, "That's so me. That's exactly who
Oh,
I am," you know. So that's one of the things that I love the most is the presentation of the brand identity, because they are like they saw the briefing and they saw the mood board, and I told you all tell you all the ideas, you know. But when you present the final result, like what is gonna look like, they are just blown away.
so what's your most memorable reaction from a client?
Difficult. Well, I had one that I sent her my presentation, and usually I send, and then I tell them like, take your time, read everything, analyze everything, and just then talk to me.
Yes.
Most of them don't do that. They read it and they're like, I love it and I want to use it, right? But I always say that, and the client was like, okay. She didn't say anything else. And half an hour later, she said, I want to video call you. And I
Okay.
was like, okay. Maybe I didn't get it right. I don't know, right? So a video call in the moment, you know. So I was okay. So we did, and she turned on the camera and she was crying. I like crying, you know. And because her story, it was really touched, you know. She had a car accident for over 25 years. She lost her husband, and she lost almost got paralyzed, and her life turned upside down. And when she started walking again and everything, she started recognize herself as a butterfly because of the transformation she had to live, you know. So she loves butterflies. Like she has plates, mugs, notebooks, like everything is butterflies, you know. But when she wanted to do the logo a few years ago, um, the designer who talked to her said, "Ah, no, don't do the butterfly because it's so childish." And she
Mm.
was heartbroken because she didn't want to transmit a childish feel, right? Because she was a doctor, she was professional, so it was kind of harsh for her to listen that.
Yeah.
So she started not telling anyone that she liked butterflies, not using butterflies in anything. She really got harmed, you know. When she talked to me, she was like, I have a confession to make. I really like butterflies, and I would like to have a butterfly in my brand because she told all the story, right? And I was like, it makes perfect sense. Like you are a true butterfly. Why wouldn't we try to transmit that, right? To show your clients that you are really a butterfly. So she got excited. She
Okay.
was so happy that we were going to that way, you know. So when we finished and she did the call, she was crying because she was like, I have dreamed for that for so long, and
Mm.
I was heartbroken because they said that I couldn't do something like that. So for me, it was like the best response ever for the brand identity.
Yeah, that's priceless. That's priceless. So I know she'll cherish that for years. Cherish it for.
She has a patient that her patient was so touched by her, so for what she has done to her, that she is going to tattoo the logo I did for her. I I was astonished, you know, when she told me.
Now that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yes.
All right. Let me see if I have anything else. Because I think think we've covered all of the things I wanted to let the audience know and the Facebook group know. Anything else you want to share?
I don't know. Maybe don't be afraid to start. Is one thing that I have to say because I was terrified, and, and it's not a problem to be afraid because to be afraid help us control some things and prevent others. So it's good to be afraid, but don't be afraid to start.
Okay.
Start and then be afraid.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's a quote I'm gonna use from now on. Start and then be afraid. That is great advice. All right, Soraya, tell us how can people connect with you? Website?
Well, you can connect me by Behance. I'm always there posting
Okay.
new projects and everything. And my Instagram, I'm usually there or here in the group.
Okay.
I'm always here too.
Okay. All right. And so, if anyone needs to refer a health professional to a great brand designer, Soraya is your person. Thank you so much for this chat. It was heartwarming. I cherish it. I really do. It was great. And I look forward to connecting with you again.
Of course, the pleasure is all mine.
All right.